Alex, Chaim, what degree of suffering are you referring to? I mean, everyone suffers at varying degrees, but to attain spirituality without external help, like Jamie said. I just want to know what degree of suffering you are speaking of. No specific degree. It's a degree of suffering that is enough for you to say, I don't want to think of me, I don't want to have anything to do with me, I don't want to know that I exist. It sounds to me like a lot of suffering. What does it take? I'll tell you a story. I don't know if that's what it's going to take you, but I wouldn't recommend this, okay? But I'm just going to give you a story because Rav Leitman told us this story many times, so I'm going to tell it to you. Once there was a guy. He was not Jewish. And he didn't know anything about the Torah, or he didn't know Hebrew or anything like that. But at some point, Rav Leitman received from someone a poem that this guy wrote. And this poem was written in Hebrew. And it sounded like a very spiritual poem. Maybe a bit confused or something, but nonetheless a spiritual poem. So Rav Leitman brought it to his teacher, the Rabash, who looked at it and said, yeah, this guy certainly has something. He certainly attained some kind of level of spirituality. And one day this guy appeared. And it turns out that he doesn't speak Hebrew. He attained it. The poem kind of came to him, along with the letters, with the actual letters, in a certain state that he was in a certain spiritual state that he was in. He was able to express spiritual emotions, and that's how they came out, in Hebrew words. And it turns out that this guy was a convict in a gulag in Russia. A gulag is like a hard labor camp that people were sent to, sometimes for no reason, sometimes because they were dissidents of the government, sometimes because they were actually committed a crime. And a lot of people didn't survive the gulag. You were usually sent there for an extended period of time, 10, 15 years. You never came out of there during that time. It was usually in a very cold and hard place like Siberia and places like that, with not a lot of food, a lot of hard work. Sometimes these people worked in uranium mines. In other words, these people the kind of suffering they went through, really, you don't want to go through that. And he said at some point, you just don't want to have anything to do with it. You become detached from yourself because every thought of your situation makes you feel so bad that you just don't want to think it. And when it happens to you again and again and again, because you're constantly in it, then either you commit suicide or you just forget about your own existence. And what he discovered was that when he forgot about his own existence, he discovered the spiritual existence. Because he became detached from himself, and the perversion that's imposed on you when you are focused on yourself was gone at that point. However, when he came out of the gulag, he came to Israel, because he wanted, I guess, I don't know, but because he wanted, maybe because he wanted to be with Kabbalists, or for whatever reason he came to Israel, and he didn't suffer anymore, and he gradually lost it. So, yeah, I guess you don't want to go through that.